YouTube family? Greg D, aka the DCUO Gingerbread Man, back here with another video. And today, wanted to have a little chat, more so for the developers than for us, essentially. However, I wanted to talk about things that they should bring back in the near future. We'll basically say, hopefully in the next year, for 2026. And these are things that I have heard from you guys a lot, especially doing live streams, because as you know, we tend to talk a lot, right? During our live streams about things that would like to see change in the game. So these are just some of ideas for things that I would like to see change, or that we would like to see changed, hopefully in the next year. I'm not saying that by any means that any of this is going to happen or that they're going to do this, but hopefully if the developers are listening, hopefully they maybe take this in mind. So first thing is first, stat clamping. I know a ton of people, and I would say myself included, who would love to see the stat clamp go away. Now, I understand that it helps with, the newer players, especially. You're able to go in and get old feats and keeps the old content relevant, essentially. But getting rid of the stat clamps for those players who are more experienced or higher level, it will get them to a point where if they are missing old feats, they can go in, solo an old raid, get a bunch of feats that they've missed. I know that personally, I wish that I could do that. So that is definitely one thing. I know that a lot of people are kind of, hit or miss with the stat clamp thing, because I understand it, because it does make the old content still relevant. But, again, I've heard enough people say it that I would think that maybe it's something that they think about. I know that developers also hear about that all the time, so I'm sure it's on their radar. And if it's not, hopefully it is now. Another thing that is huge or at least I should say something that I hear often, is survival mode. Survival mode hasn't been around, at least that I can remember, for several years now. And especially for the more experienced players, it's a good opportunity to maybe gain some really nice rewards. I think enough players have, and even, I was going to say, even them implementing like a casual type of difficulty for instances, maybe you could get something like that where the casual mode, like maybe there's different realms or different difficulty levels of survival mode. You could have a casual, a normal, and elite. Obviously, elite, the higher difficulty you do, much like we have here in most of the content within the game. Maybe what they would do is, maybe for the newer players or players that are, don't have a lot of skill points or necessarily maxed out, they could kind of get into it as well. Obviously, again, you can make the rewards based off of, whatever level you're doing. So, could that be, similar to like event rewards that we get? Maybe. And obviously, if you're doing something elite-wise, maybe you could get something like really nice, like a really rare or OG aura material. Maybe you get a bunch of like nth metals, like perfected nth metals, or the what's the other one called? The reinforced nth metals. Maybe you get some of that. Maybe casual is more along the lines of like, lower nth metals, or maybe some like gear or something like that. Maybe you could relate it to whatever DLC is currently out at that time. So, you could get some mogo nuts, as I call them, mogo acorns, things like that. So that's something to think about. Or you could make survival mode just one big thing, right? Maybe the first couple of levels are relative to a casual mode. Then maybe the next ones are relative to like a normal raid, and then maybe as you get up higher, maybe they would be, there's an elite section, and then the really top couple levels are basically like an elite plus. So that's something to kind of think about as well. I would love to see Save the Universe come back as well, personally, and I know that I've heard some of you guys mention that too. And I know for me that I would love to see it in the sense of like getting those feats. I mean, I know now they have the flashback, alerts or raids, and we can get feats for completing so many of those on normal difficulty. But I would really love to see Save the Universe come back as well. Maybe even do it, and you could even again you could have survival mode like this too, but do them as events every so often. We had the Outsider Ops event where, I mean, you could buy out, 10 skill points essentially. Maybe you could do that every, year, like do it once a year or once every 6 months or something, where you make it an event. You make it a month long event where you, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there'd be different tiers of event rewards too. You could have something where it's like, okay, well, if you complete tier one, you get, X amount of nth metals, you get basic aura, basic material, things of that nature. And obviously, the higher you're able to complete what you need to complete, the better your rewards are. Again, Save the Universe could kind of be the same thing. Just make it a month-long event. Do it once a year, once every 6 months. If you need like a filler thing between like seasonal events or something, and again, we could go back and collect those styles, collect those feats. And I know a lot of people will say, bring back some PvP, even though we all know that PvP is dead. But developers, I think you have enough people, especially in Little Bohemia Metropolis or in the House of Legends, that they're constantly dueling, they're constantly messing around. So with dueling, so why not bring back PvP? Why not bring back instances? Hell, at this point, even the Legends PvE is dead. That's something you could bring back too. I mean, there's a ton of feats to be had within PvP still at this point, within Legends PvE, that I haven't gotten personally. So, I mean, bring those back, and again, make them. What one thing I would say is at least buff the Legends PvE, because I mean the one thing that I hated about Legends PvE was it was cool if you wanted to play as like Sinestro or Atrocitus or Shazam or whatever, but the fact that we're doing like PvP type damage sucked. It made it not fun. So I would say if you bring back Legends PvE, make it so that we're actually doing our normal damage and not PvP level damage, if that makes any sense at all. And again, bring back some more PvP instances. Do like they did way back in the day, where maybe you take one DLC and it is PvP oriented. Maybe it's a new PvP style, or maybe it's new PvP. I don't know. Maybe there's PvP allies. You could do PvP like specific artifacts. You could do. Um, I mean, we know that developers like making their money, and everything is all about microtransactions, right? So, I mean, you could go down the rabbit hole of, again, having specific PvP specific artifacts, allies. Not something that I personally would probably do, um, but you can make it so that these specific artifacts and allies are only useful in PvP, or they do more damage or more buffs in PvP as opposed to PvE. So, I mean, that's just something to kind of think about. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else that I would necessarily um, say, other than I think the last thing would be, I know so many people ask me about Spore Pod, especially, so I would think that maybe for 2026, let's not cap the buyout necessarily of specific seasonal rewards like a new iconic power, for example. Like, allow people to go back. They're brand new to the game and they really want a Spore Pod. They really want a Brine Hulk. They really want a Shadow Curse. They're brand new to the game and it really fits the theme of whatever character they have currently. Don't cut off the time of when you can buy it out. Allow people to buy it at any time. You know, maybe, and again, maybe you could buy it out for, you know, I don't know, $10, $20. I don't know. I'm sure they would do something like that, but so I don't know. Just kind of, you know, ideas that I have in my head. I think those would be good changes, and I think you could see a lot of happy DCUO players. I can't talk. One last thing I would mention is DCUO. You should probably at some point give us some sort of Wolfpack token for give us some sort of Wolfpack type token for allies. So, for example, if I have, you know, Constantine at level 10, make it so that I could Wolfpack token him over to my alternates as well. I think that would be a great idea, and I know it's something that I have discussed in previous videos, but you know, maybe something to think about in the future. And again, I know the developers are all about their microtransactions and making their money, so it could be something viable to them. So, I mean, if we're going to go down and recap here, it's stat clamp, survival mode, save the universe, make them events, you know, every so often. Bring back some PvP instances, maybe make a PvP DLC, something of that nature. And you know, Legends PvE, I guess, could go into that same thing as well. But yeah, I mean, they're small, little, subtle changes, but I think they would make a big impact to the game and make a lot of the player base happy. Um, I mean, I know you're not going to make everybody happy with this game, but I don't know. Just my thoughts. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to conclude this video right here. Let me know in the comment section below what you would like to see different coming up in the next few months or 2026. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers here soon. And until next time, my friends, we'll see you soon.